Welcome to the session on UGC Geography Net June 2014 paper 3. We will be discussing the third session. So in the first two sessions we have already covered the first set of 30 questions. We will be discussing the remaining set of 15 questions today. So in the next set, the first question that we will be coming across is a process of population deconcentration away from large urban settlement to non-metropolitan area is known as. The correct answer for this is counter-urbanization. So counter-urbanization is a process in which the process of deconcentration occurs, and that deconcentration means moving from the urban settlements to the nearby non-metropolitan area or the non-metropolitan regions which surround that area. So that is the answer for this question. The next question is again on urban geography. So urban or regional geography, I should say. So the question says, in the acceleration state of urbanization, the urban population constitutes. In this case, the correct answer would be, so before we understand what is acceleration stage, we must know the three stages of urbanization. So the first stage is known as the initial stage. The second stage is the acceleration stage, and third stage is the terminal stage. Initial stage is a stage where there is predominance of agriculture. So agricultural activities are predominant. The second stage is the stage of acceleration, which shows a growing growth of urban population. So in this stage, what happens is there is a sudden increase in the urban areas. So it's 25% to 40%, then we say 40 to 60%, and 60 to 70% are the three phases of acceleration. And finally is the terminal stage where the urbanization exceeds or crosses 70%. So that is what is known as the terminal stage. So therefore acceleration, the correct answer in this case for acceleration stage would be 25% to 70%. The next question, again based on urban development city size, is a very direct question. Who gave the concept of primate city? The correct answer here is Jefferson. So Jefferson was the person who gave the concept of primate city, and under this concept he propounded that one city is exceptionally larger than other cities. Some of them say that it is more than double the size of the next order city. That was the next question. Now following question is based on assertion. It's an assertion reason question. Under this question, the assertion says Losch model is less restrictive than Christaller's model. That is 100% correct statement. Losch gave less restrictions as compared to Christaller. So the restrictions were less. And then he treated each sections as separate range, threshold, and hexagonal hinterland. That's again a correct statement because rather than bunching all the functions into the 7 orders as done by Christaller, he gave separate sections for each set of range, threshold, and hexagonal hinterland. Therefore, both are correct statements, and reason is the correct explanation. Due to separate sections, it is less restrictive. The next question is, which of the following characterizes the second stage of demographic transition model? So to understand this, we'll first discuss the various stages of demographic transition model. So first stage, you have high birth rate with high death rate. So that is what is the stage first. The second stage is characterized by decrease in death rate, okay, but high birth rate. So birth rate remains high, but there is a declining death rate, and that is due to better sanitation facilities, better health facilities. The third stage in demographic transition is where birth rate falls. So you have decrease in birth rate. This is attributed to better wages, urbanization, education opportunities, and other options. And again, a declining trend for death rate. And in the final fourth stage, you have low birth rate and low death rate. So these are the 4 stages of the demographic transition model. As per this, the second stage you have not this. C. High birth rate and declining death rate. Okay, so that's the correct option C in this case. The next question is again a direct question. Memory. So you have to match the list. You have the list of books and the authors. You have to match which book was written by whom. So Nature of Geography is a very famous book written by, we all know, it's Richard Hartshorne. So it's a very famous book by Hartshorne. Hartshorne wrote the book Nature of Geography. The next important book that we should know is Castles wrote the book on urban question. So he did a lot of work on urban geography and urban question. Then the concept of social justice was propounded by Harvey. And finally, locational analysis in human geography was given by Hackett. So these are the main works done by respective persons and their contributions. Now finally, what is the next question is based on migration. So it says, what is meant by the word chain migration? Chain migration is a common word when we try to understand the prospective migrants who are moving from one place to another. They move by few major parameters. First is you have an opportunity for job. If I'm getting a job in certain place, I'd like to move there, or I have existing relatives or my family in that area. Okay, that would be a pulling factor for me. So relatives or family or your knowledge about that area. So you're in any way you have a proximity to that place would be a factor that would bring you towards that place. So job opportunities and proximity. So combination of A and C is the best reason for chain migration. Chain migration is very common mainly in foreign countries when people move. So it's due to either you get a certain good job or you have a set of relatives existing there. Which of the following is not correctly matched? Now, rest all of them are correctly matched except the first. Burgess gave the concept of concentric zone model and not the metropolis concept. So Burgess gave the concept of concentric zone model. Rayleigh gave the concept of retail gravity. Ziff gave the concept of range size, and Gates gave the concept of conurbation. So rest all are correctly matched. So first is the answer. Now, next question is, it's about the concept of fisheries in India. Now we have to judge out which of the following statements is not correct. Now the first statement says fishing grounds occur where the continental shelf is wide. This is a very true statement because where the continental shelf is wide, the fishes get a lot of food, and because of getting a lot of food there, you can find a large number of fishes in that area and they become the major fishing grounds. The next is fishing activity is well developed in warm tropical waters. That's again true. And where the warm and the cold current bring, there are a lot of plant nutrients are found, which brings the fishes in that area. So these three are the correct options. Now in India, it says inland fishing is more significant. That's totally incorrect because in India, the main fisheries is the coastal fisheries along the coastline, the east coast and the west coast. The next question here shows an assertion reason question. Under this question, what we are trying to do is, the examiner here tries to say that regional disparities in spatial organization of economy exist. So, firstly, they are saying that there are regional disparities in the economy and interaction among inherent factors in economic activities affect the texture of spatial organization. So both of the statements are correct because for every economy you have regional disparities, you have rich, you have poor, you have developed areas, you have undeveloped areas, you have less developed areas, you have more developed areas. So there are regional disparities in each economy, that's a true statement. And interaction among the inherent factors in economic activity affect the spatial organization. So inherent activity, for example, this region is rich in mining. So that is an inherent factor that is present in that region, and that would affect the economy because of a lot of mines here or mining products found here. A lot of mining industries will establish, and that region will prosper. So you have inherent economic factors that are affected to the cause of regional disparity in a region. So both the assertion and reason are correct, and reason is the correct explanation for it. Now, this question is a very simple question. In these questions, what is important is you must read the question and do not read the choice, because if you read the choice, you get confused and it's all mixed up. What is the meaning? So just read the word. Which one of the following crop practices refer to crop rotation? Now try to hide the choices and understand the meaning of crop rotation. So crop rotation basically is a practice of growing a series of either similar or different crops, okay, or different crops in the same area, but in sequential seasons. So you have one season, you have next season, and you are growing crops in the field in the same area in different seasons. So what is the correct option is? Here is you are growing one crop in a season which is followed by a different crop in the season in the next field. Okay, so D is the correct option here. The next question. Now for this question, it's very important to understand here. Before we solve this question, there is the raw material uses gross and ubiquitous. The kind of raw material used is gross and ubiquitous. What is the location of the farm? What is meant by gross and ubiquitous? First, we'll have to understand that. Ubiquitous means what is found everywhere. Okay, so it's universally available. So it is immaterial whether I use it here or I use it in some other places. And gross means it's weight losing. So an industry which is weight losing. So for example, this is the source of raw material and this is the market source. So the industry can be anywhere between the raw material and market, because the ubiquitous product would be found everywhere. So you can find it near market, you can find it near raw material. And since gross is weight losing industry, it's good if even it's away from the source of raw material, because it would carry less transportation cost. Okay, so therefore the answer is anywhere between the source of raw material and market. Not definitely near market, because transportation would take a lot of money if it is far off. So here is a kind of table we can help to understand. This would help you to understand the exact meaning of what is the best combination in this case. So you have this table here. And in this table, just try to understand. So you have the type of raw material given here, location at the source of raw material, location at intermediate point, and location at market point. So if one is gross and localized, it's good to be near raw material. Okay. If the raw material is weight gaining and ubiquitous, then it's good to be near market. If it is pure and localized, it can be anywhere between the two places. Okay, so here are the choices. So our choice was one ubiquitous and one gross. So it could be any site according to the amount of weight loss intermittent between raw material and market. So this is the point of raw material, this is the point of market. And what we are trying to do is we are trying to find any location or the location of industry between or near raw material, market, or in the intermittent location. So that's the aim to find out here. Now the next question is Great Britain and Sweden. These two countries have a lot of are known for paper. So what is the thing here is Great Britain, you have a less of pulp, but paper making is an important industry. While in Sweden, pulp is manufactured a lot and is more important than paper making. Why? So the correct answer here is pulp making is usually raw material oriented. So it's near to the source of raw material. Transportation is very costly. So whatever is there is near to the source of raw material. So pulp making in Sweden is near the raw material source. And then you have paper making. So paper making is basically market oriented. If you have a good market for paper, you'll generate paper there. Otherwise, the transportation will take a lot of money. So you will try to make that near to the source of market. The next question is a direct question where you must know which kind of industry is found where. So the correct answer here is Detroit is known as the hub for automobile industries. So Detroit is known for automobile industries. Arkan in Ohio is known as the rubber capital of the world. So you have rubber here. Then you have Glasgow, which is known for shipbuilding industry. And finally, you have Yokohama, which is known for iron and steel. And the final question that we will be dealing today is what is meant by break of the bulk point. Now, understanding the term break of the bulk point, what does the word break of the bulk point mean? Break of the bulk point is any point where you are transferring the material from one transportation mode 1 to 2. So you are shifting the mode of transportation, and the basic aim is, for example, if you are getting something from ship, okay, so you will be shifting that from docks to a truck or a railway to take it to the inland regions where you need to supply it. So that is what is known as break of the bulk point. So that's the breaking point, and it's where goods are referred from one mode to emphasize the policy oriented another. So it's basically transferring from one mode of transportation to another mode of transportation. So with this, we complete the next 15 set of questions today. We will be discussing the remaining 30 questions in the next two lectures. Hope you enjoyed this session and stay tuned for further updates. Have a good day ahead.